Okay, week 5, October. It's been really mild, so all the veg is growing on really nicely, which is good. A bit of rain now. We've got quite a couple of new things in this week. Some of them were in last week. I'm expecting shortly both parsnips and sprouts, probably sprout tops as well. So hopefully next few weeks we'll get those in. Anyway, in much more this week than last week. We had a little bit in last week. Is the purple sprouting broccoli. As you can see, early on it can have quite a lot of leaf with it, which are edible. Take the leaves, chop them up like cabbage, and they're perfectly fine. Steam them. They're quite delicate, so they don't really take to harsh boiling. And I think boiling strips all the nutrients out anyway, so steam them. And also keep the colour. You'll lose all the colour if you boil them. They tend to go green. So if you steam them, I think it does tend to retain the colour a little bit more. So purple sprouting in now, and hopefully good supply of that for the next few months. Might even be able to keep it on till Christmas with a bit of luck. Let's have a look. Carrots still in. They're getting quite big now. So you know that's a good value for a bunch. Little bit of black fly. I can't see hardly any on there. Obviously come out the field very muddy, so just wash them off a little bit, but not absolutely drench them like they do in the supermarkets. If you do get a bit of black fly, they tend to sort of go round in a ring horizontal, so just sort of cut above and below, throw that away, and you'll find the rest of the carrots perfectly good. But as I say, at the moment they're not really got a hold. What it does show, of course, is that there's not loads of insecticide in the ground killing all these fly larvae off. So you know, we know that from the evidence there. Leeks, again, the warm weather, they're getting quite big now. They're still quite thin, so we've not had a great deal of rain. There's the odd one thickening up, but generally they're still quite thin, so good value. The thing with these, I think, is the smell. They're fresh. You know, when the delivery van opens up with leeks on board, you can tell from about 20 feet away that you've got a whole consignment of leeks in, because the smell just hits you straight away. Fantastic. Sweet again with the warm wet weather, nice and big, absolutely solid, which shows how fresh they are. Mud's still damp as well. Can get a bit of rot in here sometimes, and it is one of the worst smells in the world, the rotted swede. Can't always tell from the outside. We do try and look. If you do get one, and you'll know it, let us know and we'll replace it. But there's not too many of them, but again it can happen, and it does come down again to spray. We could spray everything, or the farmers could spray everything to prevent that, but we'd rather take a chance with the odd one not being quite right, and knowing that there's not a great deal of spray in there. So anyway, swede doing well. As I say, we should have parsnip soon. Probably parsnip could do with a frost on. It tends to bring the sweetness out. Black kale, which we had last week, plenty of that at the moment. I mean, there's so much leaf veg around with the warm weather. We're taking full advantage of it. As soon as it snows or it gets too wet, the leaf veg will disappear. So, you know, we are literally quite making hay where the sun shines. But we're certainly, well, in this case, I was making soup with it today, which was really nice. We just mashed that up, a little bit of water, you can stock if you like, and then we put some Worcester sauce in, which was a magic ingredient for me with leaf veg. Makes a big difference. So again, nice fresh kale. I had somebody around the unit last week talking about something, and there was a bag of this left over from the week before, and because it'd been in here, which is fairly chilled, and I opened it up, you know, these leaves were all really still quite perky, quite, you know, sort of almost like rubbery, like a sort of deflated balloon, I think they're like. You know, he was quite impressed with that even a week later, this stuff was still pretty fresh. Again, shows how good it is when we get it. Okay, Savoys again. Tis the season for big Savoys. You know, this is my favourite cabbage, I've got to say. One of the things I've been meaning to do that I haven't done is use the leaves of this instead of sort of like pasta leaves in a lasagna and whatever. and use it to wrap, say, meat parcels up, you know, a bit like vine leaves, but using these cabbage leaves. I've seen quite a lot of recipes like that, and I think it'd be really nice because the cabbage would hold all that flavour in, and obviously cook as well. I've just seen the odd little bug on them again. Again, showing that, you know, there's not vast amounts of pesticide going in there. Nice clean cut, shows cut today. Absolutely fresh as they come. A bit like the collies. Oh, no squeak. Not much. The collies were much better. Right, what should we go on to next? Beetroot. Not everyone's favourite, I know. You can see how wet that is. That's literally pulled out the field this morning. Quite often beetroot obviously can be stored for a while, but that's pulled out the field this morning. It is bullets. You know, they'll take a little bit of cooking. I always roast them. I can't be bothered to do anything else, quite frankly. So plenty of beetroot. More Crown Prince squash, that's the small one. You can see these here. And as I said last week, you know, this is my favourite squash of all. I mean, there's lots of value in there. You know, we are probably, you know, in effect the value of that in your box is sort of like £1.50 or something. You won't get that anywhere else. And there is so much veg in there. Yes, they can be a bit hard to cut, but once you've got them cut, then, you know, chunk them, freeze them, use them throughout the rest of the year. I think they're best roasted. That's how I use these. And in fact, the other day we did cook one up and we mashed it all up, and we used that instead of a potato topping on a pie. I think it was a shepherd's pie. So we used a squash mash, and that was really good stuff. And just a brilliant replacement for potato. Okay, let's have a think. What else we've got? More leaf veg. Now, what I wanted to find was, here we go, is one that I've don't think we've had too much of before, which has come on, is the spinach. Nice and again fresh. It's a bit wet. Okay, if it's cut in the wet, you're going to find a snail in there or something somewhere. So just keep a lookout for them. I would suggest when you get them, just go through, rinse them off, get rid of any little travellers in there, and then put them back into a bag, tie it up, put it in the fridge, and they'll stay fresh for ages. And as you know, if you leave spinach out for any length of time, I mean, it wilts literally in front of your eyes. So that's the best. This is perpetual spinach, so you get a bit more time with it. Perpetual means it grows all year. You know, but make full use of it. I'm going to actually, with the leaf veg, as I said, there's lots around at the moment. We're going to do a vid later this week looking at how we use all this leaf veg in different ways and how you can get the most out of it, because you get a big bag like that. And you know, let's be honest, you're going to be thinking, oh God, I'm going to be eating spinach for 3 days and nothing else, or kale or chard. So we're going to do a little vid on leaf veg. And just different ways to use it, different ways to work with it, different ways to store it so that you can then use it in the future in different things. So watch out for that. Planning on doing that Friday. Hopefully we'll have it available next week. That's it for the main veg. There is some chard in there, and I think that's it. There's the odd other different squash on the fruit. Very quickly, from Brockdale, as before, I was talking about the pears and how you get different varieties and how different they are. Now, I like a large pear. Yeah, quite. And you know, that certainly is one. I find with these, as I said, I think I said before, they take a little while. They're picked very unripe, so they take quite a while to ripen up. But when they do, they're absolutely fantastic. And the flavour is so much different than the ordinary sort of boring pears you get. You can get little grains in them, and these can be quite grainy. What they are actually, I looked it up, they're actually, in other fruit, they will develop into the stones of the fruit, but in the pear, they just stay as like those little grains that you get in the flesh. So, you know, that's what they are, if you're wondering, which I was. We also got some cookers in, not Bramleys. So we're starting to get a few cookers in. That looked like a cooker to me. So, you know, nice colour, again different flavours than the boring old Brownlee, and again sometimes these it's quite hard to tell sometimes whether they're an apple or a pear, but they're a pear. And we're starting to get some of these in. What we've got here, these are called Chardon from 1959. Okay, so again, Brogdale giving us all the information. And the apples now, later in the season, really hard and crisp and good flavours, which is what I prefer than the woolly ones. That's it for this week. Quick run through. As I say, what's coming up? Hoping to get some parsnip in soon. Hoping to get some sprouts in. Maybe some sprout tops as well, which are fantastic. I think that's all I've got on the horizon at the moment, but we'll see how we go. Thanks a lot.